Okay.
Well, I see.
Hey, kid. Catch.
Wow, thanks, Big Jack.
Hi, Big Jack. Remember this?
Rodney, Hot Rod, my gosh, how nice to see you.
You're still the greatest, Big Jack.
I don't know about that, but good heavens, how many years has it been?
Well, I was just 12 when we did the first spot. It was a big thrill for a little guy, one I would never forget. It was a lot of fun to work with my hero. Now I'm with Federal Express in Dallas. I owe it all to one man.
And who's that, Rodney?
Mr. Fred Smith.
Fred Smith. Hot Rod, just like old time, you and me working together again on television. I can't wait to get started.
And away we go.
Yeah.
Great Scott! TV5 presents Big Jack, You're the Greatest. A show so big it took 35 years to produce. A thrilling and affectionate tribute to the one and only Jack Eaton as he bids farewell to WMC radio and television. Brought to you by Bluff City Buick, 70 years of customer satisfaction. And by Memphis State University, which congratulates Jack Eaton on his service to the city and the university. Don't go away. Jack and Hot Rod will be back right after this time out.
WREC's Cook and Powell see things differently at Bluff City Buick. Fred focuses on the traditional standards of quality in his 29 Buick sedan. John sees those same standards today. Buick is the most trouble-free American car. Fred says Bluff City Buick was the best place to buy a Buick in 1929. John knows Bluff City Buick is still the best place. And how does Fred know about 1929? Guys, no matter how you look at it, quality never goes out of style at Bluff City Buick.
All right, Hot Rod, let's see if there's any sports on television. You ready? Magic box right here. Okay, away we go.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Dick Hawley reporting.
Great, Scott. Come on, let me get him out.
Hold on, Jack. Don't change that channel. This is a show that you're going to love.
Hey, must be Tiger highlights the first 100 years, huh?
No, not that good. This is your story. The real Jack Eaton, the man behind the myth.
Well, it's about time I gave him the idea for this series several years ago.
Some people are born athletes, and our own Big Jack is one of those favored few. A standout on the legendary five of Washington and Jefferson, his name is still spoken with awe and reverence along the hallowed halls of old W&J. Years later, in Memphis, his reputation followed him.
He was so stupid, though, that when he finally won his letter, he asked the coach to read it to him.
What does Lawler know? But don't tell him I said that.
World Series star and baseball broadcaster, our own Tim McCarver, couldn't even find the words to describe the Eaton legend.
That is a funny bit.
The thought that I want to leave you with is that regardless, you could reach the acclaims of a Jack Eaton, and regardless, I'm trying to get this out now. Everything went so well up to the... regardless of what happens, that's the only thing that's going to... that your funeral... I'll tell you, see you.
Jack, you know, when you and I did the news, weather, and sports back in the old days, news was serious business. We always delivered the facts in a clear, straightforward manner, devoid of any emotion. You fellas are determined to get me, Jack. Always getting me tickled, aren't you, Jack?
I'm glad he's back. The Super Bowl is coming up this Sunday, and everyone has an idea of what's going to happen.
Oakland coach John Madden, for example, thinks the special teams may decide the game. The Vikings blocked 13 kicks this season, which is pretty good. Madden is described as relaxed and jovial.
Yeah, they don't do the news like we used to do it. Tell it like it is, Wally.
And when Big Jack presented the sports segment, he was always on top of the situation. His show was designed and executed with the precision of a fine Swiss watch.
It was Minnesota 6 and Milwaukee 4. And the Daily Double, check that first. The Monday Night Wrestling matches over at the tonight's Daily Double over at the Southland Dog Track. We'll go back to that in a minute. First of all, the Monday Night Wrestling matches at the Coliseum. The double, okay, there we go. 1 and 6 paid $68.20. And now we're going to have the Monday Night Wrestling matches at the Coliseum.
Well, even Babe Ruth struck out 1,330 times.
One thing about Jack, he was certainly versatile, if nothing else. He could play the games, he could call the games, even open the games with a crowd-stirring rendition of our country's national anthem. In fact, our camera happened to catch this historic moment back in 1975 while Jack was preparing to broadcast the Tigers game from Wichita.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed, and the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes send bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare was bursting.
Oh, come on, don't do that.
Hot Rod, I don't know about you, but I've had enough television for a while. Come on out and I'll show you how to play some golf. How about that? Get in.
Good try, Big Jack.
I don't believe it.
Go.
Great shot.
Big Jack, you are still the greatest.
Big Jack, you're still the greatest.
I grew up in Drew, Mississippi, and watching Channel 5 and watching Jack Eaton, and I remember when I broke my arm at Ole Miss, and I was in Baptist Hospital, Campbell's Clinic Baptist Hospital for a week, and big hullabaloo over me, but I think the biggest thrill for me is Jack Eaton came up to my hospital room to interview me. You know, that's the first time I'd ever really met Jack after watching him all those years. And I guess, Jack, I'll have to spill it now, because he told me this then and made me promise I'd never tell anyone that he always really did like Ole Miss better than Memphis State.
There's a breed of man who lives for the challenge of the grill, the roar of the flames, and the cold steel of the spatula.
Let's cook.
Dad, we're doing pizza.
But this summer, Pizza Hut has the incredible Picnic Pairs deal. Try one of 3 great Pizza Lovers pizzas for just $8.99 and get a second for just $4 more.
Who wants another slice?
Pizza Hut, making it great.
Home delivery where available. At Metro Memphis, call 362-3333.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be a librarian when I grow up.
Learning to read is only the first step in becoming a librarian. It's important to our community that the library has all the books, music, magazines, videos, and the latest technology that people need. Studying all subjects in school is the way to become a librarian. So start your career with class, stay in school, and become what you really want to be.
Listen up. I've only got 30 seconds. Maestro, music, please.
July 4th, the WMC stations are throwing a big party, the Star Spangled Celebration. It's so big, it's in 2 places, Tom Lee Park and Mud Island. There's big entertainment, too. Mark Cohn, you know, Walking in Memphis, big song, and Al Green, Take Me to the River. Excuse me. At 8 o'clock, we've got a big welcome home party for those who served in Operation Desert Storm. Then, are you ready for this? The biggest fireworks display ever. I'm talking flashes, explosions, the whole 9 yards. It's a whole day of food and fun, big fun. And yeah, we got big sponsors, too. BFI, Shearing Clown, Piggly Wiggly. Okay, how am I doing on time?
Tight race in the National League East right now.
Scott, you've been gone for 2 weeks, for heaven's sakes. Nice to have you back. It's just not the same when you're not here. Do you know that I didn't even care what the Yankees did when you were gone?
Now, there's a pair. Jack and I spent 13 years together on Action News 5. When I started anchoring the newscasts, I was determined to be serious and retain my dignity. But it didn't take long to realize that was going to be extremely difficult, since one of my roles was going to be as Jack's straight man and foil. And to be honest, now don't tell Jack this, I really enjoyed it.
Since when? St. Louis Cardinals, I'm sorry.
That's not funny.
I know it isn't.
Okay.
You and I used to clown around on the air something unmercifully, and that was fun. I mean, you would try to act, but deep down inside, you know, what the heck, we're just two guys clowning around having fun.
At this point, you may be wondering how Jack arrived in Memphis. Well, he did some radio announcing in the military and liked it. So much so that afterwards he studied broadcasting at Syracuse University and then took a job in Columbus, Georgia. It wasn't long before WMC Radio sent the signals that would begin Jack's long and successful career in Memphis.
I had done play-by-play football and basketball, in which I had in Georgia. So radio was looking for a guy to do just that, and I got a call from him. And so one thing led to another, and we negotiated, so I came to Memphis.
A few years later, WMC Television asked Jack to become sports anchor on the newscasts.
I took over in February 1st of 1959 and have been there ever since. And I'd started on the early news. They didn't have an early news in those days. I started on the early news, I think, in '66. So since '66, I've been doing the 10 o'clock and the 5 sports. And I think it's time for somebody else to do it for a while.
Jack was great on TV, but his first love was doing radio play-by-play of football and especially basketball. He did thousands of games for high schools, Ole Miss, and of course, Memphis State.
When I thought of Memphis State, I thought of Jack Eaton, to be honest with you. He's been the voice of Memphis State as far as I can remember. In fact, in high school, coming through, Coach Sayers and I can relate to this. That was the thing that all the youngsters really got involved with, is his enthusiasm for Memphis State athletics, especially basketball. I mean, he really gets into it. And speaking of that, I can remember an incident, we playing Louisville, Freedom Hall, and he really gets pumped up for Louisville. And I stood up a couple of times because things were going on the floor, but it wasn't quite as energetic as Jack was doing it right next to me. In fact, I stopped, turned, and looked at him and listened to what he was saying about the game. He made me feel good.
Larry Finch and several of Jack's other longtime buddies got together with me recently at the Sports Page restaurant to reminisce.
You know, Mason, I think that Gene Bartow probably nailed it as well as anybody else. The last game when Gene was coaching here was in Madison Square Garden, NIT, and the last game and the last, I think, sign-off was that Jack, that Gene said that Jack, if cut your wrist right now, you bleed blue and gray. And I think that was said it all for Jack's enthusiasm to follow up what you said about Memphis State University. He was totally blue and gray all the way.
I honestly believe this. I'm not sure Memphis State recruited Larry Finch and Ronnie Robinson. Jack Eaton probably recruited them, to be perfectly honest with you, because he was the guy who sold Memphis State University. High school athletics, he was just as enthusiastic about high school athletics as he was Memphis State. And it's hard, I guess, to get into it, but Jack somehow found a way to do that. And he just thought that those high school youngsters were as good as the Memphis State players, and he made it sound like that. It might not have been true, but he made it sound that way anyway.
These men have been important figures in the Memphis sports world as players, coaches, and partners with Jack on many radio and TV broadcasts.
I want to say that it was either the first or second year Mo Iba was there. We played Union University. Fine little school up here, but basically Union University is not supposed to beat Memphis State in basketball. Well, they did. The next year, we opened with Union University, and I believe it was Darryl Garrett played for him. Right. He came down, he bombed one from the corner, and after about 10 minutes, Iba calls a timeout. Union University's ahead about 30 to 20 or something like that. Eaton puts his hand over the microphone, turns around to me, and said, "I can't take another season."
I decided a long time ago that broadcasting football games and basketball games. They're all alike. Every game is like every other game. All they do is change the cast of characters. So what I had to do is to make something that's totally similar seem different. But I could care less about objectivity. To me, when a guy comes in from out of town, from Birmingham or St. Louis, I mean, they're the enemy. It's all tongue-in-cheek, but they're the enemy. We're here to beat them, and the referees are against us, and everybody's against us, and by golly, I'm for the home team. Let's go, let's get these guys.
You're entertainers in the television business or in radio. You're entertainers, and you were looking for listeners. And, you know, if you're a comedian, you can either be Victor Borger and play the piano well and be funny, or the Three Stooges. There's different types of comedians, there's different type of announcers. And, you know, Jack Crystal, John Ward, Jack Eaton are all different. And I think Jack is unique. Jack is Memphis. Jack is Memphis State. You don't have to worry about who he's for. That's his style, like you said. That's his style of doing things, and I think that's why Jack is unique.
Well, you know, you saying he's unique, and that's true. And that's what I was about to say. The mark of a good coach, mark of a good person in whatever field of career you go into, is determined, in my opinion, through longevity. It doesn't matter about how many wins or what have you. If you're a great coach, if you're a good announcer, if you do, it's how long you're there. Jack is one of the few that has the opportunity to retire.
You're right, gentlemen. Jack's style was distinctive. We all know what you mean.
No poetry today, huh? You're going to have a poem about this,
Oh,
too.
it's later.
It's coming up later.
Good.
My prediction, then a poem.
Let's take the poems first. And they just come to you?
They just come to me, yeah.
I've seen you sit in the studio or in your office or even in a car and write a poem.
That's right. It just occurs to me from out of the blue. I don't know where it comes from.
What about the predictions?
I don't really remember the first prediction I made, but looking back, when they're wrong, it is more fun. I missed the Super Bowl one year because of the barometric pressure. I missed one year because they played out in California, and every time my team got the ball, there was an earthquake, and they were going uphill the whole game. And I'm the only guy that knew that. And so, but when they're wrong, it's more fun.
Okay, big guy, but let's try to get one right. How about a final prediction about you?
I predict that I'm going to have a hard time retiring. I really do. I think this is going to be, as I said before many times, I've never retired before. I don't really know what to expect. But if I were to look down 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 months, it's going to be tough to do. I want to get back to my hometown and stay as long as I want to, maybe 2 days. But then come back when I feel like it. This is a big thing, to do what you feel like doing.
Whatever that is, my friend, all the best, always. And thanks for the memories.
WREC's Cook and Powell see things differently at Bluff City Buick. Fred focuses on the traditional standards of quality in his 29 Buick sedan. John sees those same standards today. Buick is the most trouble-free American car. Fred says Bluff City Buick was the best place to buy a Buick in 1929. John knows Bluff City Buick is still the best place. And how does Fred know about 1929? Guys, no matter how you look at it, quality never goes out of style at Bluff City Buick.
I'll have to tell you this, based on my interpretation from the people around the Memphis and Shelby County community, when our Hall of Fame is put together, you'll be the favorite and first nominee for everybody in the Memphis Mid-South area. Best of wishes to you. We'll miss you.
Well, Big Jack, from one sports fan to another, congratulations. You know, I was thinking back on the very first telecast on WMC TV. There I was, hanging on every single word you said, sitting in my high chair. I loved your first show. You know, Jack, I've had the opportunity now, sitting from this chair, to meet many, many sportscasters throughout this country. And I've got to say to you, Jack Eaton, you're one of them. Good luck, buddy.
Hey, Scott, Larry Finch, my favorite coach. How the world are you?
Doing fine, Jack. You know what this is?
Coach, I've been in business 35 years. I didn't fall off a turnip truck on Union Avenue. What is it?
A videotape, Jack, but not just any videotape. This is one that has some special messages from some special people.
Let's take a look at it, but how do we play it?
Simple, Jack. The magic of television does it all. Take a look.
I do that.
I miss you, Jack, and it's been tough being so far away from your 3 minutes of sports antics. But for all those years of scores and highlights, you deserve a rest. I just don't know what Memphis is going to do without you on TV5. But you don't worry about that. We'll always love you, and we'll always remember you. The best of everything to you, Jack.
Big Jack retired after 35 years. That tells me a couple things. One of them, you're good, and number two, you never worked for George Steinbrenner. We're going to miss you. All the best from all of us here on Today.
Congratulations on 35 years at TV5, Jack. Best wishes on your retirement. May all your drives be true and your fairways lush.
Jack Eaton, we love you, I love you, and Memphis sports scene will not be the same without Jack Eaton. He is truly the greatest. Big Jack. Great Scott. We love you.
We loved your scores, we loved your rhymes, we loved your kidding all those times. But now it's time to say goodbye. Great Scott, I think I'm gonna cry.
Gosh, the mayors, Brenda Wood, Bryant, Joe, Willard, for once, I think I'm speechless.
Wait, there's more. There's some other folks we found.
Jack, old buddy, since you've been entertaining us so long with your poetry, I've written one for you, and it goes something like this. Kim and Joe and Weatherman Brown continue to believe that the old sports director is the worst fisherman around. But I, for one, can tell you with no slack that when it comes to angling, it's hard to beat good old Jack. He's clever and quick and talented to boot and can catch a fish before an owl can say hoot. So now as we sit in our dens at the times of 5 and 10, we're going to miss this fella and his sweet grin. I'm sad to say, but it's a fact. Great Scott, Mid-South, there's only one Big Jack.
Jack, I wish I could say the right things because you are the best in the world of describing those Tigers, or were from 70 to 74, I know, and I've missed you, and I can still beat you playing golf, you and Irma, but congratulations on a phenomenal career.
And Jack, I want to add some sentiments also. Your support and friendship since I was a youngster playing for the Tigers has meant a lot. And I know I can speak for thousands of others, fans, players, and coaches, but no referees. We're going to miss you, Jack.
Coach, I appreciate it, and that means a lot coming from you.
Just to show you how loyal and devoted you are to Tiger fans, I want to show another tape of one of your finest hours.
Oh, boy.
Doing what you do best. Roll them.
Roll them?
Roll them.
What is this? Thank you very much. No one has requested that I sing, but I'm going to anyway. This is my favorite song. I go back a long way with Memphis State. I started broadcasting their games before there was radio. When I'm at a ball game and hear this song, chills up my spine. No one has had chills and listened to me sing to this, by the way. But anyway, here we go. Tiger fight song. Go Tigers, go! On to victory! Be a winner through and through! Fight, Tigers, fight, because we're gonna win tonight! Fight, fight, for the blue and gray, and say let's go, Tigers, go! On to victory! See our colors bright and true! Let's fight now without a fear! Right now, let's start a cheer! Shout for dear old MSU! Go, Tigers, go! Get two, Hot Rod? Yeah, that was 10 years ago, Coach, and if you can believe this, I've gotten even better. Want an encore?
Thank you, Jack. You've done more than enough for Memphis State Tigers. Let's talk about what we both really know, basketball.
Right. Let's talk Tiger basketball and get you in the mood. Let me show you one of my finest moments. This is a bit I did with our old friend and former MSU coach, Gene Bartow. Gosh, 17 years ago. Roll 'em. Roll 'em.
Roll 'em.
Coach, with us in there, you can't miss.
Join Jack as he calls the shots in the Tigers game against the Seminoles of Florida State, Tuesday night at 6:30, here on TV5.
I tell you, you got any eligibility left there.
Now you're going to have some free time. How about coming out and teaching that shot to our kids?
I don't know if you can really teach anything like that, but perhaps I could give maybe a few tips. And speaking of tips, how about giving us a glimpse into the Tiger team this year? Is Anthony going to be okay and ready to play?
Well, I hope so, Jack. We're looking forward to him. He's going to mean a lot to our basketball program. Of course, he's one of the finest players coming out of high school we've ever recruited.
Better, would he be on Keith Lee's status?
You got to wait.
Okay.
I don't want to put that kind of pressure on him, but he's a great, great talent. And, of course, I got a big 6'10" nephew that's going to mean a lot to our program as well.
Can he step in as a freshman, David Vaughn, and pick up the slack and take care of the Tigers?
Well, we hope he'll be able to step in and give us a big relief. And, of course, two youngsters from right here in Memphis.
That's right.
Chris Haynes and, of course, Marcus Nolan. Both youngsters going to mean a lot to our program.
And the Pyramid is going to be down there next year, and I can see nothing but great things ahead for Tiger basketball.
Well, Jack, I hate to run, but I got to get back to the playing board. Some of the ideas you've given me, I can't wait to try them out. I'll see you down at the Pyramid.
Okay, Larry, that sounds good to me.
Stay tuned. Jack will return in a moment with a goodbye that's not to be missed. But first, let's thank our videographers, Greg Cool, Calvin Daughtry, and Dan Welch, audio operator Joe Williams, studio director Cliff Rayfield, and director and editor Perry Kane for a job well done. Big Jack, You're the Greatest has been brought to you by Bluff City Buick, 70 years of customer satisfaction. And by Memphis State University, which congratulates Jack Eaton on his 35 years of service to the city and the university. Now, Jack's back for a final word.
Oh, my gosh, it doesn't seem possible. 35 years of broadcasting here on TV5 and AM 79. I've had a lot of fun doing what I enjoy most. To all of you that I've met through the TV tube and the radio dial, I appreciate your being such good sports. I may be around for a while, who knows, so let's stay in touch. And as I wrap up this broadcasting career, I beg your indulgence for one more poem. I call it Au revoir. I've always hated to say goodbye, and at this point in time, I could probably cry. But I have no regrets, and certainly no remorse. And I'd ride off into the sunset if I had a horse.
Starting right here. Here's service over the timeline, down the left sideline. Stops, now comes back dribbling cross court. And he Red Scott, they stole the ball. Hughes has got it. He drives on Rivers, lays it. Hey! He got it. He's fouled. Oh, wow. Eddie Hughes picked David Rivers' pocket, dribbled
I closed my career with the hokiest thing I have ever done. That is the hokiest thing I have ever done.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I love stuff like that.